Morning class, come in. Good morning Amreen. Good morning Rashid. Good morning Ravi. Good morning Shirisha. Good morning Mohan. Good morning Pavan. Pavan, how was your birthday? Lakshmi, good morning. Good morning Kishan. Good morning Bharti. Madhavi, good morning. Ramya, good morning. Yeah, here, good morning. Excuse me. Maivan, good morning. Amrita, good morning. Good morning, everyone. We start with a very big smile. Hope you all are fine. Nasir, good morning. Lizelle, good morning. Yeah, shall I begin? I have sent you four PowerPoints today, and each PowerPoint has a different part of the international environment. Good morning, class. Good morning to all of you. Today we will I'll start explaining the international environment that an international business has to face when it goes into a country other than its own. When a country does a business within its origins, suppose a country of origin means the country where, excuse me. Thank you for the heart, Lizelle. Love you too. So, the country of origin means the country where the business is born. All right. So, it is also called a domestic company. All right. So, what happens is when the company does business within the boundaries of its country of origin, it is a domestic business. When it goes abroad, it is an international business. As I have told you, how the sophistication happens from a domestic business to an international business to a multinational to a transnational corporation. Ashu, good morning. Vicky, good morning. Nina, good morning. Hadia, good morning. Farhan, good morning. Sandeep, good morning. Radhika, good morning. Shruti, good morning. Rakshita, good morning. Roshan, good morning. Why is Lily not coming to class these days? I hope she's doing well. Tejas, good morning. Okay, so I have sent you certain PowerPoints. In those, I have given part by part. Now, when we talk about when you go internationally, you'll have to face different environments. All right, different kinds of environments. Now, what are these environments and how are these different from the environment you face in your domestic country? This is like this. See, I have already taught you culture in international business. So cultural environment is also part of the international environment. Today, I have given you a PowerPoint which says culture and customs. Actually, I named it wrong. It is societal norms. We will do those, and for you will understand. See, there are various things in society that is different from your country of origin. These days, most societies are almost similar, but the sophistication that some developed countries have reached, societal wise, may not be there in some traditionally originated societies. Like societal norms essentially mean marriage and how children are brought up, how women are treated, whether women work. See, women become a very important part of society, how women are treated, how much respect they are given in a society. Because in some societies, women are not supposed to do certain things. Like if men are sitting, see, we know that in some marriages, men are separate and women are separate. In places, different places like places of worship, in restaurants, um, how some places women are restricted. So if you're from a country like our country where there is absolutely no restriction, see, good morning Lavanya, good morning Malikarjun, good morning Manjunath. Yeah, Hadia. Teja, good morning. Devika, good morning. Shashikant, good morning. Priksha, good morning. Where's your twin, Priksha? Okay. So, what happens is uh, there are different ways you're supposed to behave. Suppose you're a man, you're not supposed you then, and you have taken your family and gone abroad because your the place of where you're working has sent you abroad, and you have a girl child and your wife and your mother. Then you may not be able to take your family out in all the places if there are restrictions for women's movements in that particular country. In some African countries, women do not go to family people do not go, women do not go to hotels, I believe. Okay, so something like this. There are many restrictions, and you would be an odd person out and get yourself in trouble with the local police if you don't understand what are the societal norms that you have to do. So, whenever you go to another country to for business work purposes, then see, as a student it's quite all right. You're not supposed to know everything. You will be forgiven and you will learn. Annapurna, good morning. But as a person, when you work, you're supposed to be an adult, and then what will happen is you will be taken to task. Probably the police will intervene. So we cannot I do not want such things to happen. So there we are. What happens is we before we go, every company, if since you will be international business managers, remember that you have to give your people suitable training in the societal norms of the country in which they are going to work, so that they are not inviting trouble. All right. Yeah, Naveen, good morning. Okay, here we are. Now I will take the my PowerPoint, the last one I gave you. It says culture and customs. Kindly open the culture and customs PowerPoint. The culture and customs PowerPoint is like this. See, it is actually societal norms. You look at this, I've brought you certain pictures and I have tried to explain how. See, for example, if you're in Korea, no matter how hungry you are, you can't start eating before the oldest person at the table does. So if you violate this rule, the second time you may not be allowed to go there. Then, if you want to get some, see, you're eating and you want to water, then you don't get up. You ask the person next to you, can you give me some water? And he or she will fill your glass. All right? Koreans, I believe, when you eat at a table, they fill each other's glass, and obviously the amount of respect given to senior people is very good. In fact, it is quite a lot. Jnaneshwari, good morning. So that is why in Korea, unless the senior person eats, you're not supposed to eat. And if you eat before the senior most person eats, then you will not get an invitation into a Korean household next time, because it amounts to rudeness. Okay, let us go and look at the next slide. In Thailand, you cannot touch each other people's heads. Thai people are almost always smiling, which demonstrates their positive mindset. So, if you want to ruin a Thai person's mood, you don't want that person smiling anymore, you shouldn't touch their head. They think it's not about you're going to spoil my, you're touching my hair and you spoil my hairstyle. Oh my God. No, it's not the hair. It's not the hair they're bothered about. The Thailand people think that the soul is in the head. So please don't touch my head. Soul is something that is divine and sacred in all cultures. So my soul exists in my head. Don't touch my head. Not my hair. I don't care about my hair. You're not going to spoil my hairstyle, for example. Okay? Then come to the next one. In some country, most countries, if you show your tongue, people will think it is rude, isn't it? If you put out your tongue or you try to lick your lips and all that, people think, oh, no, mannerless, etc. Or, the tongue is not, using your tongue is not at all a good gesture. But what happens in some, for example, in India, if you put out your tongue, it shows that you're angry. All right? So in Tibet, this gesture is used to show respect and used to say hello, it seems. There is an opinion in the origin of Tibetan tradition, it seems, that the devil has a black tongue. So when you show your tongue is not black. So I'm not a devil, or not a devil. I'm not one of the devils, whatever. Okay. So the thing is, in Tibet, it is okay to show your tongue. In India, it is not. We term it extremely mannerless. Okay, we'll come to the next one. Presenting flowers is a good thing in most countries. Now I have to say something about it. A red rose is something that you should give to one person. You may say one person at a time, ma'am. Now that's naughty, and I didn't say it. Okay. So a red rose is given to someone. It shows love, romantic love. Okay. Whom will you give? If it's your teacher, you're supposed to give. It's a respect, isn't it? So you're supposed to give not red roses. Sorry, yellow roses. See, each color has a different meaning. Pink, yellow has a different meaning. I'll leave it to you to find out. I'll find it out. Next class, I'll tell you but it is interesting for you. What does a flower in a particular color mean? Not only has color have colors meanings, also the type of flower has meaning. What kind of flower you'll give, all that has a meaning. So let's go back to our PowerPoint and see. uh, for example, in France, people think that lilies and chrysanthemums are for funerals. Okay. In Italy, chrysanthemums means you have it's a roundish flower. Yeah, you should, I think you know, roundish flower with small small petals, a cluster of small small petals. That is a chrysanthemum. It comes in yellow, it comes in orange, not marigold. It comes in yellow generally, chrysanthemums. I think now they come in different colors also, white also, I think. I think in Bangalore they are called asters. In Bangalore they might be called asters. They come in purple, white, etc. Those are asters. But chrysanthemums are yellow. Yellow thin petals clustered into so many petals, it will become a chrysanthemum. So chrysanthemums, I believe, in France are said to be used for funerals, and in Italy they are supposed to be for sad occasions. So if you want to give someone flowers for an sad occasion, then you have to work in France with lilies and chrysanthemums. If someone has passed away, then when you visit the person, you can take lilies and chrysanthemums. In Italy, only you can take chrysanthemums, but in Italy, national flower is a lily. So they like lilies. If you want to visit someone on a happy occasion, or you're just going to visit someone, then you can take a lily. So not only, I repeat, not only have one second. Not only do colors of flowers have meanings, also the flowers themselves have meanings. Okay, so be careful, right? Next, we come to the next this thing. See, this is even more interesting. In many countries around the world, tips are included in the bill. Now you are eating. See, before in our country, they never used to. Well, when I was younger, uh, not young, I'm still young. When I was younger, we never had the concept that of service charge in the bill. So when if you go to a hotel and you have service charge, then you're not supposed to tip the waiter. And in many places, you're not supposed to tip at all. They do not expect you to tip the waiter, because it will be taken care of. Excuse me. It will be taken care of in the bill. All right. Especially, sorry, man. There's some insect which is bothering me. Okay. Especially, okay. Especially, what happens is, if well, if the bill has the service charge, you're not supposed to pay. Okay. Now let us look at what I have given you. Many countries, tips are included in the bill. This is true for the Czech Republic, France, Hungary, and Spain. On an average, 10% to 15% of the bill is the tips. However, this rule doesn't work for all European countries. In Australia, tips are only given to waiters who do their job well. It's the same thing in our country, isn't it? If you find the waiter is doing a good job, you give him or her a tip. In Austria, yeah, Austria, not Australia, sorry. And there is an unwritten rule in Austria. If a customer has asked for their bill 3 times and never receives it, they can leave the restaurant without paying. How nice. Yeah, you will be stuck. I have asked 3 times the bill and I have not got the bill. Should I leave without paying? Because ma'am said no in international business class. If you ask 3 times and you don't get the bill, you can leave. So can I leave? So this is one big issue I'm going to leave you about. You will be stuck there and you'll say, "Oh my God, why did ma'am tell Preeti good morning, Rajesh good morning, Akash good morning, Asha good morning, Kumar good morning, Sunita good morning." So you'll be saying, "Why did ma'am tell me this? Now do I pay the bill? Ask a fourth time?" Or just leave, because ma'am said no 3 times. They don't give you, if you ask and you don't get the bill, it is not your fault. You can leave without paying. All right. Okay, see, I have left you with a problem now. Okay, here we are. Next, um, one of the most amazing things in many countries is how people address each other. If you're walking in Hungary, don't be angry if someone calls you a cabbage or a small insect. Okay? Imagine you're walking and someone says, "Hi, you look like a cabbage," or "Wow, like a cabbage," or "Great, cabbage." Okay? "Hi, cabbage." Okay? Or a small insect. I'll tell you why. They're not trying to mock you. In Hungary, these words are actually a compliment. Okay, if you're a cabbage, then you're very beautiful. Okay, and then if you're like a bird, called like a bird, it means I'm admiring you. For example, see, their compliments may seem different for each of us. For example, in China, saying diving fish, swooping geese is a way to say someone is beautiful. All right. Suppose they call you, you're like a diving fish, or you're like a swooping geese. See, in India we say no, eyes like a fish. Okay, we have a name called Minakshi. Minakshi means Minu means fish. Akshi means Kannu. So eyes like a fish. All right. So that's a compliment. But if you say you're Meenakshi in a foreign country, you may be taken to task. She called me fish. She called me fishy. All right. So in India, Meenakshi means eyes like a fish. It's beautiful. Okay, you're giving a compliment, but in some other countries you may be taken to task. How dare you call me a fish? So if Chinese people call you diving and swooping like a geese, don't be angry. They think you're beautiful. Okay, people in Poland use the word breadcrumb. So if you're in Poland and you're like, "Hey, breadcrumb," that means they like you. Okay, they're not going to eat you because you're a breadcrumb. But just joking. No, please don't take offense. But in Poland, if they call you a breadcrumb, it means you're liked. Okay, and in Japan, egg with eyes is also a term with for an attractive person. So if someone says you're like an egg with eyes, it means you have an oval shaped face. Egg has an oval shape, isn't it? So you have an oval shaped face with beautiful eyes. So it's a compliment given to you. Let's come to the next this thing. So suppose you offer a gift to the Chinese, I believe, they will refuse to accept it 3 times. See, it's not that they don't want to accept, or they're just trying to be courteous. Okay, they're just trying to be courteous. So if you offer a gift to a Chinese friend, the friend may say, "No, no, not really. I don't want it." Once, twice, thrice. Okay, you just don't say, "I'm going to take the gift away," because 3 times the person, yeah, Chaitra, good morning. 3 times the person says, "I don't want the gift." Okay, so I'm going to take the gift. No, it is only in their culture, it is courteous to refuse the gift a couple of times before they accept it. You have brought the gift to give the gift and go, but expect them to say no at least 3 times. I had read many years ago, I remember, excuse me, reading something about the Red Indians. I believe Red Indians will not see. This is something I read anciently when they were, as tribes and all. I don't mean to say they're doing it now. So it was like this. Suppose, say, between they will be living in tipis and all, no? In tipis are tents. So suppose someone takes, say, you've gone from somewhere and you have a comb, a little comb which looks very pretty. So imagine the lady in the next one likes the comb, she has taken it to use and she'll give it back to you. But she wants to see it, see how it looks in her hair. She's taken it for some time. It is so tempting because the comb looks very beautiful. Imagine. So if you know that she has taken it and you'll ask her, have you taken my comb? She'll say no. Okay. I believe there's a tradition in their culture that you can say, you can tell a lie 4 times, but the fifth time you have to tell the truth. So if you ask my friend, have you taken my comb? She'll say no, second time. Third time, you took my comb, right? No. Yes, you took my comb. Fourth time, no. Now, if you know the culture and you'll never ask 5 times, right? Generally, why will you ask? But to a Red Indian, you must ask fifth time and they're bound to tell you the truth. So in the fifth time, you say, yeah, you take my comb. Yes, here, wait. You will get your comb back. Okay, so I'm just this thing. The 4 times they can tell lies. It's not like lies. It's just a societal norm. So here you are. You come to China. In China, you can gift people with anything except sharp objects. If you give knives, they are the signs of the end of a relationship. If you give watches, it is believed that watches mark the end of life, and handkerchiefs, which are a superstition connected with crying at funerals. All right, okay. Now look at this one. In Saudi Arabia and UAE, men rub noses when they meet. This is also an unusual way to okay, hello. So how do you do? How do you say hello in India? Yeah. This is also unique, isn't it? A namaste is also unique. So, different ways of greeting. In France, traditions depend on where you are. Okay, in different parts of the country in France, in Paris, people kiss you twice, once on this side, once on this side. In Corsica, I believe they kiss you 5 times. I have heard that in some Arab cultures, you kiss each other, 7 times. It depends on who is very close to you and how many times you need to kiss them. Okay, next, we come to the next one. See, look at this zero, how it is. In this is okay, and in Japan, this one, okay, the 3 fingers up and 2 fingers joining is called money, and in France, it is zero. So, even by using a small gesture, you can insult a person by calling nothing. See, it is like this. In India, if you say like this, you'll say, wow. Okay. See, yesterday, someone sent me a gesture. This is wow, like, like that. But in France, it means you're nothing. Okay. So be careful. You're telling them you're great, but they think you're saying that they are nothing. They're useless. So be careful about gestures. Even by saying nothing, you can call them. Um, you can get. So I will not tell you the last one. It is it is for you to read. Next one. If you're going to drive to Chile, remember one simple rule: don't eat anything with your hands. In this country, tribal manners are way more important than in other countries in South America. So you should use your crockery when eating hamburgers and French fries. How are you going to eat your hamburger? Keep your fork and cut the knife. Yeah. Tejas, you can wait till I finish my class. You don't have to intervene in the middle. All right? You want to tell me to talk about dissertation, and I did forget about it. I will tell you can after class if you tell me. I'll fix a class and I'll do it for you. Okay? It is not. It is very rude to intervene during class and tell me. All right? Manjunath, good morning, Manjunath. How are you? Okay. So here we are. I forgot what I was saying. Okay. In Chile, what happens is, okay, in Chile, what happens is you're not supposed to eat with your hands. Okay, you must use your fork, spoon, etc. Even for eating fries. Come to the next one. It doesn't matter where a Mexican should be, a business meeting or a party with friends, they will purposely be late because they will, see it was such that people were dependent upon public transportation, and public transportation always used to be late, it seems. So people, if they used to come late, so it has become a habit. Today in Mexico, I believe, if of course, it doesn't happen everywhere. In social gatherings, it doesn't mean in business meetings and all you have to go late. Okay, so what you have to do is please don't go on time. If they say come for 8 o'clock, come at 8 o'clock for dinner. Don't go at 8 o'clock. Not only Mexico, many countries it is like that. You can't drop in right at 8 o'clock. But in some countries, if you go later than 8 o'clock, it is called impolite. Okay, some countries you go even. Thank you. Some countries you can go even earlier than 8 o'clock. Some countries you have to go later than 8 o'clock. Okay, and some countries you have to be at 8 o'clock. See, please remember, I'm not talking about official things like business meetings and all. Don't go and do this in business meetings. I had a friend who used to work in 3M. So he was telling me this story. As a young man, he had joined 3M. He had he had to do some kind of um, presentation um, during the one of those days. So the presentation was supposed to be at 10 o'clock. This person thought he was the junior most. Everyone is going to come late, so I will go 10 minutes late. And then somehow he landed up 5 minutes late because he said everybody is going to come late. I am the junior most. Why should I go at 10 a.m. sharp? So when he landed up at 10:05 for the presentation, to his shock and horror, he was the last one to arrive. The senior most people, everybody had was already there. All right. So this is the well, for an official meeting, I'm not talking. Whatever I'm talking about is societal customs. All right. For an official meeting, please don't do as some of the things that I have told you here. Okay. Now, it may not be very easy to stop drinking coffee in the Middle East. Hospitable, suppose, see, you look at this cup. If you keep the cup, if you keep the cup like this, see, you're drinking this thing and keeping it like this. So when you're keeping it on the saucer erect, people will think you want to drink, you want more coffee, so they'll come and fill up. If you go to a restaurant and minute you finish a good restaurant, minute you finish your water, the waiter on your table will come and fill it up. You have to tell him, no, I do not want any more water. You can take the glass away. Otherwise, as long as you're there, minute your water becomes less, they will keep on filling it up. All right. So there it is. Similarly, in Arab countries, Suppose your cup is erect, they will keep on filling it up. So you have to keep it sideways, lying the cup should. Your meeting is going on, and someone is filling the coffee cups. You do not want more coffee. You have to keep the cup sideways. See, this also happens by using your fork. If your fork is facing upwards, it means you're still eating, and if your fork is faced downwards, you have finished. So, in our Indian customs, when you finish eating on a banana leaf, they say you're supposed to fold it, etc. Okay, fold it in a particular way. Okay, next one. We'll come to the next one. See, this is a very interesting one about fish. Okay, imagine you're eating a fish. Fish has two sides. See, look at my phone. It has this side and it has this side. Now there is flesh on this side, right? So you eat the flesh on this side. And what do? Flip it and eat the flesh on this side, right? But you're not supposed to do that. In the middle is the bone. But in China, there is this considered bad luck. Do not flip the fish. You eat on one side, then you remove the bone and you continue eating there. Do not flip the fish. Flipping the fish is considered bad luck, it seems. I also in one particular place I had read, three Cafu. Cafu is spelled as Carrefour. Okay, Cafu. 1 minute. Okay, Cafu is a place. Cafu is similar to Walmart. Walmart is the biggest retailing chain in the world, followed by Cafu. In China, I believe Cafu has become bigger than Walmart. You know why? Because Cafu understood what Chinese want. You take a cucumber, how we cut it horizontally, you get the round slices, isn't it? But I believe in China, cutting a vegetable horizontal is considered bad luck. Okay? Cutting a vegetable horizontal is considered bad luck. So there are people do not cut vegetable and anything. Suppose in a departmental store you're presenting cut vegetable, then you don't cut it horizontally, you cut it straight. You must have seen in Chinese restaurants, no, the vegetable is all cut in thin long ways. You don't get little bits, do you? You do not get little bits like how we cut for our Indians cut for our pulao. We cut it in small pieces, cubes. But even we have salads in cubes. But you see Chinese food, everything is cut in lengthwise. All right, this is one thing. So with these little examples, I've tried to tell you how society works differently in different cultures. It is not actually culture. Culture I have already taken care of, and I have spoken widely about culture. This is about societal norms. Some examples you can use because when you write an answer, you don't have much time and much space for society things only. So using my PowerPoint, you can give some examples. Excuse me. You can give some examples and talk about society. Then second one is about culture. I have already done a lot for you about culture. So you do culture. Okay. Now, next is the third one is political. Let me go back and we will do political now. Just hold on a bit. Yeah. I think class, there is one example I've given you about the Thai king and pink shirts. I may have already done it. So we are going into political. Now, here the international environment, it says in this slide, consists of political, legal, cultural, economic, technological environments. All right. So what are our learning objectives? That we have to behave in the same way as is expected by others. Now the first thing here is different Yeah, Yashaswini, good morning. The first thing here, sorry, is about the type of government. Now, suppose you are in a democracy, you know what is to be expected. Okay, it's the freest form, freest form of this thing you can have, right? And then monarchy, whether monarchy exists. In some countries, monarchy exists parallel to a government. But monarchy also, like for example in Japan, the monarch also has a great saying. They listen to him. Now in England, the monarchy is given a lot of respect. Excuse me. The monarchy is given a lot of respect. In India, we have several kings who, if they want power, they must stand for elections, get elected. Otherwise, they have no power. Okay, just in certain places, they, as a king, they have done a lot of good for their people. So, because of their, whatever they have done, they are respected. Just because they are king, they do not get respect in our country. We look up at them and say, oh, we look at their lifestyle and we wonder. Apart from that, we do not say, oh, I have to listen to this king, he's a king or something like that. We don't have. But in some countries, it is monarchy is given a lot of respect. Let us talk about the next thing we talk about is um, autocracy and dictatorship. In some countries, dictatorship still works. The elected government is, overtaken by the military leaders, and then they rule. So, how dangerous it is, how easy it is, or how difficult it is to work in, to go and start your business in countries like this is anyone's guess. See, a particular dictator may be very good to you, but when his rule stops and your business has to continue, the next dictator may not at all like you because you were the friend of the previous dictator. So these are the things that you have to you have to worry when you look at, once again. Okay. Stability and tenure of politics and attitude towards business. I will talk to you on this in India. See, in India, every 5 years we have elections, right? Every 5 years we have elections. If you look at, we have 70 years of independence now. If you look at it, only twice our government has not completed 5 years. Then, if this is not steady, what else is? The previous government completed 5 years. The current government is going steady. It will complete 5 years soon. It shows stability of government. When there is stability of government, international businesses are very secure. Excuse me. In such countries, international businesses are very secure and safe. All right. So, and then attitude of the government. See, our government, political parties may change, but the attitude of the government towards business has always been the same. The industrial policy is not changed unnecessarily. Every government maintains the industrial policy, the economic policy, etc., because there should be some security for international businesses who come and function in India. Okay, so this is the basic thing about sorry, this is the basic thing about political this one political environment. Now, another thing you have to remember is, see, in our country there are certain laws. In our country there are certain laws which are applicable to businesses in our country. So if you think the same kind of laws, if I abide by the same kind of laws in another country, no. You have to find out what laws are you have to abide with in another country. Excuse me, one mosquito is troubling me. Yeah. I mashed it. Sorry, it has bitten me on my forehead. Okay, so so here we are. If we think that I'm following the rules of my country, it's enough. No, when you go there, you have to follow the rules of your country because you're basically from India. Also, you have to follow the rules of the country where you're operating. So please find out the rules wherever you're operating, and it is better. Next we come to the legal systems. See, there is something called common law, civil law, religious law. Yeah, there's something called common law, civil law, religious law, etc. Common law is based on civil law, etc. See, I will somehow, one second, I need bureaucratic law. Common law is based on the cumulative wisdom of judges on individual cases. For example, what happens is judges, there will be a case, the judge will give you one this thing, the judge will give you one judgment. That judgment will become precedent for the next similar case. See, there is a particular case, say, and next another, and the judgment is done for this case. When a similar case comes again, then this judge will say, based on the precedent, that is the judgment given by that judge, I will give a similar judgment. All right, this is the common law. Now, what is civil law? Civil law is based on certain norms. For example, in Iraq, we had something called the Hammurabi's Code. The Hammurabi's Code dictated how people should live in society. Okay, in society, basically, how you maintain your family, how you have a marriage done. Like marriage between people, responsibility of people towards families, and the responsibility of people towards other people in society, how we are supposed to behave, what is the definition of a criminal act, what is the definition of a civil offense or a criminal offense. All these things come in the code of ethics that is meant for a society. All right. Now, for this, what happens is that is civil law, and common law is based on judges' decisions. Then you have theocratic law or religious law. Some countries are ruled as per their religion. Pakistan, for example, Iran, and countries like in the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, their laws are based on the religion they follow. All right. Then there is something called bureaucratic law, the fourth type. So I talked to you about common law, civil law, theocratic or religious law. Theocracy, no, it is religious law. Theocracy means a country which is ruled by religious law is called a theocracy. And the fourth one is bureaucratic law. Sometimes what happens is bureaucrats, that is, bureaucrats is the IAS, IPS, like that, no? IAS in our country, something like that, civil services. Those people will be made to rule. And good morning, Deepika. And that time, what will happen? The people who rule have make some kind of laws, and those are bureaucratic laws. Okay. Now let's go to our. Please follow my PowerPoints. It gives details for you on what you need to present for your paper answer for your answer in the exams. Okay, then now the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is in law. There is one thing in our country: you're not guilty until you're proven guilty. Even if you're caught for a crime, you are supposed to be innocent, and it is the onus of the government to prove that you are guilty. So it is like this: the public prosecutor's job it is to prove that you are guilty, and you take a lawyer to prove that you are not guilty, that you are innocent. So this is what is the way our Indian system works. Okay, it is we assume everyone to be innocent till you are proved guilty. All right, till you are proved guilty, you are supposed to be innocent. So these are the things that you have to decide. It may not be the same in other countries. So here today I have discussed to you four aspects. One is society and its norms. Second, the customs, which I have already discussed in briefly, I have told you. Then we have talked about legal systems. What I have told you is enough. And then political systems. That much is enough. Please refer the PowerPoints I have given you. Now, the another thing is about economic systems. In economic systems, you must talk about how foreign exchange currency happens, how the rates are different, how there is, you have to change money. When you go to a foreign country and buy and sell, you have to use the currency of that country, or you have to use the internationally accepted dollars. Okay, so there you are. What happens is, if you write these five accepts: political, legal, then social, customs, and the last one I told you is economic. The in economic, I have already taught you in international financial management what happens to foreign currency, etc. So use take some points from there and write. The largest amount of marks we can give is 10 marks, okay, for a direct question. And each now I have taught you five different factors. In each factor, for 2 marks if you write, it is already equivalent to 10 marks. So the points I have given you and explained is quite enough. If you're talking about, for example, for a different legal system, then you can also mention one more thing. Information technology rules regarding privacy are different in different countries. All right, you can write that each country privacy in international information technology means a different thing. So gives a different meaning. So you can if you write these five subsections of international environment, it is enough. Now class, see, I'm not the director yet. When I take over, very soon we will give you your guides. Let me allot the guides. I thought I will give you about dissertation, but let me allot the guides first. All right, let me allot the guides, and once the guides are allotted to you, which will happen in a few days, by the end of the week, we will fix coming Monday for dissertation. All right, coming Monday is the day where I will teach you how to make your dissertation. After that, your guides will guide you. All right, I'll give you general guidelines, and I'll give you some topics. I'll take up some topics and I'll do. Yes, I've not done because I wanted to give you guides first. So I'll give you the guides, and then we can go ahead. I'll tell you on Monday, coming Monday. Today is Monday, no? Coming Monday in 1 week, I'll give a thorough class on dissertation. Okay, class, I think I'll say bye now. Enough class for today. Keep smiling. Stay safe. Stay within your houses. Don't unnecessarily go out just because lockdown has opened, etc. etc. Curfew was there. Now curfew is over. I can run out. Not necessary to run out. Take walks inside your house unless you have to do some shopping. Even for shopping, don't go 4 or 5 times. Just make a list and do your shopping once for 2 or 3 days. Take your walks inside. You are lucky you have we are able to reach out to you on Facebook, on Zoom, on so many other social media platforms. Imagine if that also was not there. Think of the count your blessings. Whatever we is there, adjust now, because safety of life is most paramount. Don't ignore the safety about protecting your life. Life is most precious, the most precious thing. All right, take care of yourself. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I will come back. Take care. I'll meet you. most probably on Wednesday. See, on Wednesday, I have another commitment from some other university. I have to give you a talk. I will see the time. If I'm unable to take class, I'll fix someone else's class during my class. Do not, I will not keep you, without a class. Okay, thank you, class. Have a nice day. Tejas, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But you all are not small children. You have to think before you do. I would advise you that. Okay. God bless. Smile. Yeah. I'll say bye to you. Yeah. Take care. Jai Hind. Jai Karnataka.